Hi guys. I want to talk to you guys today a little bit about my stereo setup for my computer. Right now I have a receiver pushing my two infinity speakers sitting on my desk, but that's going to change in a minute. Follow with me and we'll get this done. Okay, before we get started, I want to tell you the three things that make up a home receiver. The things that most people call an amp or a tuner that sit on your shelf and push your speakers so you can have your big dance party or you can listen to music or whatever the case may be. There's three components. First component, right over here, it's called a preamp. And a preamp, what that does is it allows you to hook up, say, a CD player, DVD player, a phonograph, or some external audio input device into it. And that then hooks up to the other two components in order to give you the sound quality you're looking for. But it is basically on the back of the home amplifiers that we see nowadays, which are called receivers. They have inputs in the back that are red and white. Those are called composite inputs, by the way, not RCA inputs. They're composite inputs. Those are actually the preamp. That's the preamp that is built into your receiver. And again, it's right over here. The second component is usually a tuner. A tuner is so you can get your FM, your AM, your shortwave, or whatever other signal you want to get in, satellite signal, what have you. And that's right here. That's called a tuner. A tuner is necessary in order to make a receiver. Without a tuner, you don't have a receiver. But if you have a receiver, you have to have a tuner. Now, the third component is the amplifier. Now, without an amplifier, can you still listen to music? Yeah, you can. It's going to be very low. A set of headphones is usually what's needed without an amplifier. But if you have speakers, external speakers, you want to hook up and crank those speakers up so you can listen to your music, or you can listen to your movie or your podcast or whatever the case may be, you're going to need an amplifier. So those three components make up a receiver, and that is right here. That's an amplifier. And then over here is another amplifier. So we have two different amplifiers. We have an older amplifier and a newer amplifier. Both of them do the job well. Older amplifiers had tubes in them. The newer amplifiers don't have tubes. They still make a few of them, but generally they're very expensive. Do you remember back in the 60s when they were so heavy? Those are tube amplifiers. Those were really good. Problem is they got really hot. Resistors replaced them, and that's kind of what we use nowadays. So now that you know the difference between a receiver, an amplifier, and a tuner, you feel a little more confident, or at least hopefully you feel a little more confident when it comes to hooking this up. I wish I could show you all three components being hooked up. I'd be more than happy to wire them up for you or show you how they're wired up. But unfortunately I don't. I just use a receiver right now simply because it's a lot easier to manage. It's a lot less wires and it's one component to be able to move around. But if you are that audiophile who likes quality sound, you're very rarely going to find it in one receiver. You will get more than adequate sound for most people in one receiver. But if you're discerning and you want something that's going to sound really good, you're going to have to buy separate components in order to achieve that. Okay, so what you guys see here is my current computer setup. There's my desk. To the left is my receiver, and I'll zoom in on that receiver. And now you see the receiver. I'm going to go ahead and replace that. Okay folks, I got the preamp / amplifier in, and it's pretty small. It's going to be easy to hook up. If you can see, it's made by Pyle. It's just a real basic little unit. I'm going to test it out, and I'm going to give you my review on it. I think it's going to do what I want it to do. I think it's going to be more than enough. It has a bass response, it has a treble response, and well, has a power button with the little volume button on it. So I think it's going to do what I want it to do. Okay, what we're going to do here is we're going to hook up the composite cables. I have both red and white, and as you see, hook up to red and white. Pretty self-explanatory. White to white, and red to red. And now on my actual speaker wires, I've actually already labeled these when I first did this. I have my left speaker and my right speaker, and red goes to red on my speaker, and it is red here. You can see it is red there. So I'm going to hook up to red here, which is going to be my right speaker. And the black will be the ground for the right speaker. And same thing for my left. Red will be to red on the speaker, and black will be to ground. And this will be on my left speaker. Push down on these. Put this in there, and other than hooking up power, I'm going to be done. Now I already ran electricity into this little cubby, so I am going to hook this up to electricity. And now I'm going to plug it in to power, and as you see, it powered up. Volume, I'm going to go about 20%, 25%, and let's see if we can play something, and I will see how this works. Okay, as you can see, I actually hooked it up. I used some double sticky tape, taped it up to the bottom of the inside of my desk down here. It's actually pretty light, so it'll stay in place. At least I hope it will. You can't see it. You don't even notice a blue light, and the blue light's actually not bad if that's my theme, but my theme's not blue, it's red, as you can see from the pictures. But hey, I recommend it. I've been listening to some games I've been playing. I've been listening to some music. Sounds great. And for $35.99 on Amazon, I think it's a pretty good deal. It's got my thumbs up. So now that you've learned a little bit more about receivers and home stereo amplifiers, you're probably a little bit more educated than most people out there on their own home receivers and amplifiers, no matter how expensive they are. There's a lot of people who used to come into the stereo store that I used to work at who had no idea what they were doing, had no idea what they were called, but yet they had a lot of money to spend, most of them. So what you want to do is you want to actually educate yourself a little bit on the stereos that you're going to hook up before you hook them up. That way you know what to spend, how much to spend, and what to buy. Most importantly, what to buy. So remember, if I can save you a few bucks, I will save you a few bucks. Oh, I almost forgot. Please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that little bell to be notified of any future videos that I make. Until next time.